Hi guys! In this type of videos I'll make short reviews on builds and will give my assessment on following categories: cost, efficiency in PvP and PvE, and difficulty. So now subscribe on the channel and let's go! Today we'll take a look on Carving Sword build. It is definitely meta weapon, assassin jacket with passive on cooldown reduction with invisibility spell. Second is Guardian helmet for minor heal and also it removes dot spells. Any leather boots with refreshment ability and same passive on cooldown reduction. Lymbhurst cape because it is very hungry build, and Carving Sword with second Q spell and parry strike on W. As a passive spell you should take bleed or passive on heroic stack. Food: omelette to get maximum possible cooldown reduction and healing potions. Cost: 6 out of 10, slightly above the average price, because for highest efficiency you need tier 6 set, but at the same time weapon could be tier 4 due to the fact of availability of parry strike, so the optimal tier of items is on your screen. Of course, you can take higher tier, but it is not advisable, due to a very high risk in open world. Efficiency in PvE: 5 out of 10. You will be able to farm almost all mobs with no problems. On top of that, you will not suffer from the lack of health or energy, but you will have some issues with bosses. Clear speed is fine because you got 3 AoE abilities. Invisibility that can drop off aggro level at critical moments, and minor heal from helmet. Efficiency in PvP: 8 out of 10, so here is the main power of this build, if you will use it correctly and in the appropriate conditions. Versus each build you will need to use unique tactic. We will split enemies on 3 archetypes. First, melee fighters, then range damage dealers like crossbows and bows, and mages. I know, that's not exactly correct, but if we will review all possible cases, it will take several hours. So versus melee players your rotation is pretty simple. You will need only to kite him via combination Q plus W plus E spell. After you made it, wait for your cooldowns and repeat. Depend on situation, you will need to use jacket or helmet spell, for example if you will need to wait out enemy strong buff or to remove any dot spell. Versus swords with parry strike spell, don't rush, wait until he casts his parry first, and only after use your own parry strike. In such way you can outplay enemy hardly. It will all depend on your reaction and it is more about mind games. So the main idea is hit and run tactic. But remember, always keep distance around 10 meters, otherwise you can miss the kill or die. Let's go next. Crossbows. They are pretty easy targets. You can dive on them in most of the cases. Just don't forget to remove mine via Guardian helmet and use parry strike at the end of the enemy Q spell cast time. In such a way you will reflect much more damage, and use invisibility to wait out defensive spell on enemy. Versus archers, tactic is quite tricky. If warbow using ray of light, it is easy kill for you. Let me explain. When he casts his spell, he lifts up his hands, so when you see this animation, instantly press W. In such way you will block it with high chance. Let's go further. Versus mages and bows that are using auto-attack builds, main problem won't be their weapon or high damage spells. Main problem will be their buffs from capes and armor pieces. So your aim must be to avoid these critical buffs via assassin jackets. Or if enemy use them at the start of the fight, run away and later in few seconds come back and fight them again. But do this only in case if you can afford it. Take a look on your health amount and on circumstances you are in, and only after this make a decision. This build is perfect in small environments, like solo dungeons, due to opportunity to take off aggro level from mobs and make them attack enemy. Difficulty: 4 out of 10. Since you will participate in several fights using this build, everything will become clear. One of the best things in this build is that you do not depend on Q stacks, like other swords, and you do not have any heavy abilities. which need certain circumstances. All is pretty simple. Subscribe on the channel and type what do you think about this build. I always read all comments and answering on most of them. Goodbye guys, see you soon.